Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
Ethan took a deep breath, the acrid scent of burnt vegetation mingling with the sweet and pungent fragrance of the alien flowers that surrounded him. The cacophony of war raged not far away, the booming sounds of artillery serving as a constant reminder of the mission that had brought him to this vibrant, yet dangerous planet. The world of Zinther was beautiful, lush and teeming with life. It was a stark contrast to the grim reality of his own home. Yet here he was, amidst the chaos of a conflict that had shed too much blood on both sides. The striking colors of the Zinthian foliage swirled together, shades of violet, teal, and vibrant gold, creating an otherworldly landscape. It would have been breathtaking, if not for the underlying current of fear and mistrust. Ethan, a seasoned soldier with a heart weighed down by fatigue, had witnessed enough brutality to understand that beauty could be a mere facade. As he ventured deeper into the thick underbrush, he remembered the stories of the Zinthians, their unyielding spirit, their devotion to family and community. They were known to be fierce and loyal, a fact that had made them a formidable foe in the ongoing war against humanity. Then came the moment that would forever change the trajectory of his life, a faint rustle nearby. Cautiously, Ethan crept towards the sound, peering through the foliage, his breath caught in his throat. Before him stood a Zinthian girl, a vision of grace and defiance. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered in shades of iridescent blue, glistening as if dusted with stardust. Her wide, luminous eyes tracked the movements of the soldiers who were meant to subdue her, filled with a mix of fury and fear, a reflection of the very essence of her people. Ethan's heart raced. He couldn't allow her to be captured. He watched as the soldiers lunged forward, rough hands reaching for her. In a swift, agonizing moment, one of them grabbed her by the hair, wrenching her backward like an animal. The sight ignited a fire within him, something primal and undeniably human, blurring the lines of enemy and ally. "Ethan!" a voice called out, breaking him from his reverie. He had only seconds to decide. The humanity within him roared. He took a step forward, pushing through the brush. The soldiers turned, surprised. "What are you doing?" one shouted, but Ethan didn't look back. He charged into the fray, eyes locked on the girl, a desire to protect overpowering any sense of duty. The soldiers hesitated for a moment, caught off guard by their comrade's sudden act of rebellion. "Stand down," one shouted, but Ethan pushed onward. He couldn't let the cruelty continue. The human race had already lost too much of its soul in this war. "Let her go," Ethan shouted fiercely, feeling a surge of adrenaline course through him. The Zinthian girl blinked, surprise registering on her face, her defiance emboldened by his presence. This wasn't just a fight for survival, it was a fight for dignity. In that charged moment, something shifted in the air, a palpable bond forming between them. Two beings from different worlds, united by a shared struggle for survival against the odds. Ethan's intervention sparked chaos. He grabbed the Zinthian girl and ran, breaking through the lines of soldiers and racing toward the endless expanse of the forest. The echoes of gunfire faded behind him as he pulled her along, ready to face whatever awaited them in this alien wilderness. Ethan sprinted through the dense underbrush, heart pounding with adrenaline and fear. The Zinthian girl, Lyra, he would later learn, moved gracefully beside him, her small form surprisingly agile as she navigated the wild terrain. He couldn't help but steal glances at her. Her iridescent skin shimmered with every movement, a glimpse of vibrancy amidst the muted despair of war. Rushing deeper into the jungle, Ethan's mind raced. He didn't even know if she'd forgive him for intervening, for pulling her from the jaws of the men who had degraded her. He had crossed a line, loyalty to comrades and cause against humanity's greater morals. "Why did you help me?" Her voice, a melodic mix of curiosity and defiance, cut through his thoughts, causing him to glance her way. Her eyes glimmered, filled with a resolve that both inspired and intimidated him. I couldn't stand by and watch," Ethan stammered, forcing the words out as they skidded to a halt behind a thicket. Sounds of pursuit echoed from behind them, a reminder that there was no safety in the chaos. "They were wrong to treat you that way." Lyra's gaze softened, yet her wariness lingered. "You risk your life for a Zinthian?" Risking my life is nothing compared to what they would have done to you. Don't you understand? He urged, desperation coloring his voice. I don't want to be part of this war anymore. War is all I know, she replied, her tone heavy with a mixture of pain and pride. It is how we survive. For a moment, silence enveloped them, the rustling leaves serving as a backdrop to their growing tension. Ethan understood the weight of her words. He had lived among soldiers sworn to fight, to conquer, to obliterate whatever threatened their existence. But in that moment, standing beside this alien girl, the veneer of loyalty began to crack. Suddenly, a branch snapped behind them, shaking Ethan back to the present. They needed to move. Come on, we have to find somewhere safe, he urged, pulling her gently by the wrist. Together, they continued deeper into the forest, where colorful flora blanketed the landscape, but it felt like a deceptive paradise. The beauty couldn't hide the darkness, just out of sight. As they weaved through the trees, Ethan felt an odd sense of comfort with her beside him, as if he were learning to breathe again in the midst of suffocating horrors. Hours passed, and the sounds of the soldiers began to fade, replaced by the serene calls of alien birds and the distant hum of bioluminescent creatures fluttering in the air. Ethan found a secluded clearing, surrounded by vibrant foliage that felt untouched by the horrors of their worlds. We should rest, he said, his voice hoarse and heavy with exhaustion. He dropped to the cool earth, propping himself against an ancient, twisted tree. Lyra, still cautious, stood a few feet away, her posture alert yet curious. As their breath slowed, Ethan dared to study her features more closely. Lyra's striking eyes contrasted sharply with the hues of her skin, glistening in the shadows of the trees. He saw hints of vulnerability behind her defiance, moments of softness as she glanced at the ground, her instinctual distrust conflicting with a burgeoning curiosity about him. Why did you destroy your chance of glory? She asked unexpectedly, her tone fierce yet curious. You could have let your comrades take me. It would have guaranteed you respect, the admiration of your people. Respect, he scoffed, shaking his head. Respect is built on cruelty. Do you think I want that? What is it you want then? She pressed, taking a hesitant step closer. Despite her strength, he saw an underlying fragility within her, a longing for understanding, for something beyond the violence surrounding them. I want to stop this, he replied, a conviction burning in his chest. I want to end the fighting and find a way for us to coexist. I want to learn. Lyra studied him, her expression unreadable. You wish to learn from the enemy? From you, he corrected, his voice softening. From someone who deserves to be heard, to be valued. As they exchanged glances, the weight of the world outside their sanctuary faded for a brief moment. They were two beings, disparate in origin, yet inexplicably connected by their shared experiences of suffering and desire for something more. But the echoing sounds of soldiers, their approach like a thunderous storm, reminded them of the imminent danger. Ethan felt the panic rising within him again. We can't stay here. We need to keep moving. Just as he stood up, the underbrush behind them rustled violently, and the shadows shifted, revealing a group of human soldiers, glinting weapons at the ready. Fear surged within Ethan, but before he could react, Lyra stepped in front of him, her stance embodying defiance. Let me handle this, she declared firmly, her bioluminescent skin shimmering in the dim light as she prepared for a confrontation. Ethan grabbed her arm, a mixture of alarm and admiration flooding him. No, we run. But her gaze was steely, determination flickering in her eyes. We stand. In that moment, Ethan understood that Lyra embodied a strength forged from the very conflict that sought to tear them apart. As he released his grip, he felt an unexpected swell of pride for her willingness to face the threat head-on, a testament to the bond they were forging, even amidst the looming terror. They stood together against the tide, ready to fight for their lives and for a connection worth saving. Even as the soldiers loomed closer, the world around Ethan and Lyra fell silent, as if time itself held its breath. The chaotic confrontation that was about to unfold hung in the air, thick and electric. Ethan felt his heartbeat drown out the noise of the impending danger, a blend of fear and exhilaration coursing through his veins. Lyra was no longer just a captive or an alien. She was a beacon of strength that ignited something fierce and protective within him. For all the brutality of war, they stood united, two beings caught in a struggle much larger than either of them. With the soldiers approaching, Lyra's stance sharpened, revealing the warrior in her. She channeled the energy of her ancestors, drawing power from the land around her. "Stay behind me," she whispered, her voice steady, even amidst the madness. Ethan nodded, unsure if he was ready to fight alongside her, but reluctant to let her face the danger alone. The soldiers emerged from the thicket, armed and roaring with threats, but with a sudden surge of determination, Lyra sprang into action. In a blur, she called upon her connection to the environment. Vines and branches seemed to animate under her command, tangling the soldiers' feet as they lunged towards her. Ethan watched, awestruck, as she deftly maneuvered, using the very essence of the forest to her advantage. "Ethan now," she yelled, catching him off guard. With hesitation washed away by adrenaline, he joined her in the fight, throwing punches and dodging blows as they worked in tandem, each action complementing the other. As the last soldier fell, panting and defeated, Ethan and Lyra shared a moment of unspoken understanding. In that brief space, their hearts beat in synchronicity, a connection forged in blood and bravery. "Is it always like this?" Ethan asked, wiping sweat from his brow as they caught their breath. "Fighting for survival." Lyra's expression was solemn, yet a spark of vulnerability flickered in her eyes. "It is our way. We have learned to survive by fighting, not only against humans, but against the oppressive forces of nature. It is how we protect what is ours." Her words hung in the air, resonating deeply with Ethan. He had been a soldier trained to fight for glory, but Lyra fought for something far more profound, to preserve the essence of her culture, to guard her people. "I want to learn," he said earnestly. "Teach me about your world, the Zynthian way, your strengths, your values." Lyra regarded him closely, her gaze piercing through the barriers they'd both held. "Learning requires trust, Ethan. Do you trust me?" "More than I trust any soldier I fought alongside," he replied, his conviction unwavering. He meant it. His heart was no longer tethered to the burdens of his past. Lyra had opened a portal to a world where brutality didn't have to define existence. With a flicker of what seemed like a smile, she nodded. "Then we will find a sanctuary. Follow me." They moved swiftly through the thickets, guided by instinct and intuition. After several bends and turns, they finally arrived at a hidden enclave, a secluded grove encircled by ancient trees, their trunks twisted and twisted like the stories they must have witnessed. The soft, rhythmic sound of a stream winding through the foliage whispered melodies of tranquility, in stark contrast to the turmoil they had just escaped. "This is my home," Lyra said, gesturing towards the lush surroundings with reverence. "It is a place of healing and learning." Ethan felt a sense of awe wash over him. Vivid flowers blanketed the ground, their colors bursting with life, while the gentle hum of the stream served as a soothing backdrop. For the first time since his arrival on Zynther, he felt a sense of peace, a stark contrast to the chaos he had known. Lyra moved with purpose, gathering herbs and plants, her movements elegant and fluid. "These help with injuries," she explained, holding a vibrant flower that glowed faintly in the dim light. "And this is used to heal scars of the soul." "Scars of the soul?" Ethan echoed, intrigued. "Yes," she nodded thoughtfully. "Pain lingers in our hearts, just as wounds do in our flesh. We must address both if we are to heal completely." Ethan watched her work with a new appreciation, compelled by her wisdom and grace. With every fleeting moment, their barriers began to erode. As they sat together, sharing stories of their respective worlds, they began to weave the threads of a deeper connection. Ethan recounted tales of Earth, his childhood filled with laughter and innocence, yet marred by the brutal onset of war. Lyra shared tales of her people, their customs, their dreams, and the motifs woven into their fabric of society. Together, they discovered common ground, savoring the unique blend of their cultures. "Do you ever have celebrations?" Ethan asked, fascinated. "Every cycle," she replied with a light in her eyes. "We gather under the stars, dancing, and sharing stories. It is our way of honoring our ancestors and replenishing our spirits. As the evening sun began to dip lower in the sky, painting the grove with hues of gold and crimson, Ethan couldn't help but visualize himself in that moment with her. A sense of wonder engulfed him, a longing for a future beyond the shadows of war. "Can I join you one day?" he asked, a hopeful tone lacing his words. Lyra's expression softened further, sensing the depth of his sincerity. "If we survive this together, then yes." They paused, their hearts echoing the unspoken possibilities that stood before them. In their shared sanctuary, the world outside faded, war and trauma receded, replaced by something raw and undeniable. Ethan and Lyra knew the path before them wouldn't be easy. Dangers lurked in every corner. Yet, with newfound determination, each moment emulated the promise of connection, healing, and perhaps a dawn of something extraordinary. As darkness settled around them, they sat beneath the canopy of stars, souls intertwined by life's adversities, a foundation upon which a new world might be built. Days turned into a blur, each one blending seamlessly into the next as Ethan and Lyra forged their bond in the sanctuary of the grove. They spent their time learning from one another, sharing dreams amid the quiet rustle of leaves and the melodic flow of water. But beneath the surface, the tension of the impending threat never truly dissipated. Ethan had become attuned to the pulse of the forest, and Lyra's presence filled him with an unfamiliar hope, a delicate light that flickered against the darkness encroaching on their fragile refuge. Yet each evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, he could feel the weight of their reality pressing down. The soldiers wouldn't stop searching for them. One evening, as twilight wrapped around them like a shroud, the serene bliss they had worked so hard to cultivate shattered. Ethan had just returned with an armful of fresh herbs when he caught sight of movement beyond the grove. The sound of footsteps, heavy, familiar, and unyielding, began to break the stillness. "Lyra," he whispered urgently, forcing his voice low. She looked up, concern etched on her face, and he beckoned her closer. "We have to hide. They found us." "Who?" Her brow furrowed in confusion. "Soldiers." He pointed to the trees beyond the grove. "We can't stay here." Panic surged in Lyra's eyes. "They will take me back. We have to fight." "No." Ethan grabbed her shoulders, desperately trying to ground her. "Fighting them here will only get us killed. We need a strategy, one that allows us to escape." "Running is not the Zynthian way," she snapped. But even as she spoke, Ethan could see something shift in her. The reality of their predicament seeped into her steadfast resolve, and in that moment, he recognized her fear mirrored in his own heart. "We're not giving up. We're just being smart about it," he reassured her. "I will not lose you to them." She hesitated, her fierce spirit battering against the rationality of survival. Slowly, she nodded, surrendering to the hope that surged between them, a fragile thread binding their fates together. "Then where do we go?" she asked softly, the fight leaving her voice. "Up." Ethan gestured towards a canopy above, a wild idea forming. "If we can climb those trees and blend in, we'll have the height advantage. We can observe their movements and make a plan to escape." Lyra stared up at the towering trees, then at him. "You think we can climb?" Ethan grinned, the adrenaline surging through him, and he winked. "Trust me, I used to do it all the time as a kid." In a matter of moments, they were scampering up the massive limbs of the trees, their bodies moving in unison as they navigated through the branches. Once settled among the leaves, they crouched low, hearts racing as they peered down at the approaching soldiers. "Keep quiet," Ethan whispered, holding his breath as he felt Lyra shift beside him, her skin aglow beneath the dappled light. With every passing moment, the soldiers drew nearer, their conversation a murmur that sent shivers down Ethan's spine. "This way," one soldier barked, his voice cutting through the night. "They must have come this way." "I saw them earlier," another replied, frustration lacing his tone. "They can't have gone far." Ethan felt his heart sink. The hunters had become a real threat, and the weight of their danger could crush them at any moment. Yet Lyra stayed silent beside him, holding onto the trunk of the tree. Her resolve had transformed. He could sense her shifting determination and it emboldened him to strategize. "Follow my lead," he whispered, cautiously peering through the branches as they searched the clearing below. "When they get close, we drop down, move to the left, and escape through the thick brush." Lyra nodded, her expression fierce again. "I will follow you." Ethan felt steadied by the vow in her words. They waited, each passing moment stretching infinitely as they listened to the soldiers' footsteps grow closer. He focused, tuned in to the rhythm of nature around them, feeling Lyra's energy thrumming through the air, a symbiotic dance of two beings united by a common cause. As the soldiers circled the grove, Ethan felt the moment draw near. His heart thumped violently, the thrill of what was to come surging within him. "Now," he commanded, springing into action as the soldiers drew close. They leaped from the branches, landing deftly on the ground, and sprinted to the left, eyes scanning for any gaps in the undergrowth. Lyra was a blur beside him, her speed astonishing as they navigated the terrain together. With the sounds of the soldiers shouting behind them, they pushed onwards, driven by instinct and the urgency to survive. "Over there!" a soldier shouted, breaking through the underbrush. "Run, Lyra!" Ethan commanded, casting one last glance behind him. He could see the anger etched into the soldiers' faces as they descended upon them like wolves on prey. But Lyra was not prey. She had transformed into a force of nature. In a blur of motion, she twisted and turned, grabbing branches and taking down foes with movement fluid as water. One soldier stumbled, caught by a snare of vines erupting from the ground, and Lyra took her chance, swiftly disarming him. Ethan was taken aback for an instant, witnessing her power. His heart soared with fierce pride. "Keep moving," she urged, pulling him further into the thicket. With adrenaline fueling their every movement, they dashed through the trees, weaving and ducking as they forged deeper into the heart of the forest. They didn't stop until the cacophony of chaos faded behind them, replaced by the soft whisper of the wind among the leaves. Finally, they collapsed against the trunk of a massive tree, breathless but alive. "We did it!" Ethan gasped, adrenaline coursing through him. Joy and disbelief mingled in his chest. Lyra looked at him, her eyes wide with incredulity, and then she broke into an infectious smile. "We survived together." Ethan took her hands in his, the connection between them profound and steadying amidst the chaos that surrounded them. "This isn't just about survival anymore, it's about us." Lyra's expression shifted. The gravity of their circumstances settled back in. "They won't give up, you know. They will keep coming for me." "I know," he replied, determination embedding itself in his voice. "But we'll face them together. We can build something new if we stand united." As they caught their breath beneath the canopy, Ethan realized that what he felt wasn't just a blossoming relationship. It was the forging of a partnership that could change the trajectory of their worlds. They would become catalysts of transformation in the face of overwhelming adversity. In that moment, they held onto their shared resolve, not just to survive, but to build a future where their two worlds could collide in harmony rather than hatred. The promise of what they could achieve together ignited a fire within them, ready to face whatever came next. Dawn broke gently over the horizon, spilling golden light across the forest and illuminating the remnants of the chaotic night. Ethan found himself propped against the gnarled trunk of the tree, exhaustion weighing heavily on his eyelids, but he could not afford to sleep. The adrenaline of their near escape still thrummed within him, a reminder of the life they had only narrowly preserved. Lyra rested beside him, her gaze distant and contemplative, illuminated by the soft morning light. A sense of peace settled over them, yet in the tranquility, the reality of their situation lingered like an unwelcome guest. "Ethan," she finally spoke, her voice calm yet sharp with purpose. "What do we do now?" Her question stirred something inside him, a mixture of hope and trepidation. The forest felt alive around them, brimming with potential, but the threats of their world, rooted in fear and violence, remained pressing concerns. "We need to find other Zynthians," he replied. "We can warn them, prepare them for the next wave of soldiers. We can build an alliance." Lyra's brow furrowed as she absorbed his words. "An alliance between humans and Zynthians? They may not understand. Many will not trust you." "I get that," He nodded, feeling the weight of his confession. But I've made my choice. I stand with you. And there are others among my kind that believe in peace. If we can find them, we might have a chance. A flicker of hope ignited in Lyra's eyes, and it propelled Ethan forward. He knew the odds were stacked against them, but he felt a newfound determination bubbling within him, a commitment to protect not just Lyra, but the possibility of a collective future. "All right," she said, her voice steady, "but it will be dangerous. Zinther is vast, and the soldiers are relentless. Then we use that to our advantage. We'll move through the forest, stay hidden, and gather as many supporters as we can. We need to show them we can fight for peace." Lyra considered his words carefully, vulnerability warring with strength. "You truly believe we can unite our peoples?" "I do," Ethan asserted, feeling the clarity of his conviction. "It will require trust, understanding, and sacrifices, but I believe in us." The warmth of her smile lit up the morning, echoing the promise of things to come. "Then we begin today." As they moved through the forest, the air was fresh with the scent of dew-kissed leaves and blooming flowers. It invigorated Ethan, filling him with renewed purpose. They navigated with determination, slipping between the undergrowth and following the natural paths of land until they reached a clearing that stretched into the distance, a wide expanse that offered visibility beyond the trees. Lyra paused, her senses keen as she scanned their surroundings. "This is where I often gather with my people. I can feel them nearby," she murmured. "Can you show me?" Ethan asked, curious to connect further with her culture and its strength. Lyra nodded, guiding him along the path she knew so intimately. With each step, she shared stories of her clan, tales of bravery and sacrifice that shaped her people's history. The warmth of her words resonated deep within Ethan, signifying the strength of her spirit and the vibrant community that existed beyond the conflict. As they approached a natural amphitheater, filled with the echoes of laughter and music, Ethan felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Would they accept him? Would they see him not as a soldier, but as a potential ally willing to forge a new path? Before he could voice his concerns, Lyra turned to him, her expression solemn yet resolute. "Stay close to me. They may be wary of you, but we will face this together." As they stepped into the gathering, dozens of Zinthians turned to face them, eyes flickering with curiosity and caution. Ethan's heart raced, but he held on to Lyra's presence, striving to remain grounded amid the unfamiliar faces that expressed a myriad of emotions: fear, distrust, curiosity. "People of the clan," Lyra began, her voice steady, yet filled with urgency, "I bring news and hope. We have been wronged, but we have the power to change our fate." Ethan stepped forward slightly, feeling the heat of their stares settle on him. "I am Ethan," he declared, pushing through the unease that coursed through him. "I was once a soldier, part of the force that wronged you. But alongside Lyra, I have witnessed the truth of your struggle. I see your strength, and I am here to support you." Whispers rippled through the crowd, a cacophony of skepticism and questioning. But as they looked to Lyra, their expressions softened. "Can we trust him?" one elder called out, his voice strong yet laden with concern. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes aflame with determination. "You can trust me. Can you not see? Together we can forge a path that ensures the safety of our people. Together, we can fight the soldiers who seek to destroy us." The tension remained thick, but it was clear that Lyra's conviction resonated with the crowd. The truth in her heart echoed through the shared pain and hope in the faces around them. Slowly, reluctant nods began to spread among the assembly, a subtle acknowledgement that there was unity to be found in their collective suffering. As a few clan members began to approach Ethan, a murmur of curiosity filled the air. Each step they took brought acknowledgement of his presence and the potential for healing that lay before them. Days passed as Ethan and Lyra worked side by side, speaking to the clan about the possibility of partnership. They strategized and shared stories, each heartbeat echoing with the connection they had forged amid adversity. In those moments of collaboration and camaraderie, Ethan found more than unity. He uncovered understanding, woven into the fabric of hope that brightened even the darkest corners of their reality. That night, as they gathered beneath the vast expanse of stars, Lyra turned to him, her eyes deep pools of warmth and gratitude. "You have changed everything," she whispered, a tender smile gracing her lips. "Together," he replied, feeling the weight of their journey fill the space between them. Lyra leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "What happens now?" Ethan gazed into her eyes, fully aware of the challenges that loomed on the horizon. "We continue this fight, not just for our salvation, but for ourselves and those who came before us, and for the futures we can build." They stood together, emboldened by their connection, a pair of unlikely allies, two souls bound by the flames of hope. As night enveloped the forest, the world felt full of promise, a vivid tapestry of two worlds entwining, one that had once been fractured now woven together in a dance of unity, resilience, and love. The sun rose gently over the horizon, casting a warm glow over the lush landscape of Zinther. Ethan stood at the edge of the clearing, his heart swelling as he surveyed the scene unfolding before him. The community he had once feared would reject him now flourished with life, Zinthians and humans alike, united under a banner of hope and collaboration. With every passing day, they had worked tirelessly to forge an alliance, transcending the barriers that had once divided them. The promise of a future unmarred by the scars of war glimmered brighter than the morning sun peeking through the trees. As the sounds of laughter filled the air, Ethan turned to see Lyra moving gracefully through the throng, her presence radiant among her people. She was not just a warrior. She was a leader, a voice for those who had fought for change, and in her eyes burned the light of 1,000 stars. Months had passed since that fateful day when they first stood together against the soldiers, and the transformation within both their hearts was palpable. They had faced challenges, bridging the gap between worlds, fostering connections that flourished through shared hopes and ambitions. Lyra approached him, her smile brightening his day. "Ethan, the festival begins soon. Are you ready?" "I've never been more ready for anything," he replied, a grin spreading across his face as he matched her enthusiasm. The festival was a celebration of unity, a gathering unlike any they'd experienced, a blending of Zinthian traditions and human customs, a testament to the life they had chosen together. Lyra had invited Ethan to partake in the ancient rituals of her people, a gesture that sealed the bond they had formed amidst the shadows. "I can't wait to learn the dance," he exclaimed, feeling a rush of excitement. "You will do wonderfully, as long as you don't step on my toes," she teased, leaning in closer, her laughter infectious. With a playful smile, Ethan shook his head. "I'll do my best, but no promises." The two walked hand in hand through the bustling square, their steps in sync, embodying the connection that had blossomed from fragile beginnings. They passed stalls adorned with vibrant colors, overflowing with food and crafts, a beautiful cacophony of sights, sounds, and scents blending into a celebration of life. "Look," Lyra said, pointing towards a group of children, Zinthians and human alike, laughing as they played together. His heart swelled at the sight. Their innocent joy embodied the hope they had fought for. "They'll grow up knowing unity instead of division," Ethan said softly, squeezing her hand. "We're making history, Lyra." "Yes, we are," she replied, her voice filled with warmth and pride. "And you are a part of my world now, no turning back." Ethan paused, their eyes locking in a moment that felt timeless. Love shimmered in the space between them, each heartbeat a testament to their resilience and the journey they had embarked upon. "I'm grateful for that," he whispered, allowing the weight of their shared experiences to wash over him. As the festival commenced, Lyra guided him through the traditional rituals, her enthusiasm contagious. They danced around the vibrant bonfire, shadows flickering as voices harmonized in celebration, a tapestry of cultures, woven together into a brilliant masterpiece. In that moment, surrounded by laughter and the warmth of community, Ethan felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. He found himself woven into the very fabric of this new world, a world that had risen from the ashes of fear and division, now rooted in love, trust, and understanding. Later that night, beneath the brilliant tapestry of stars, Ethan and Lyra stepped away from the crowd, finding a moment of solitude amidst the celebration. The night sky glittered with constellations, each star a symbol of hope, a guiding light for the journey ahead. "I can't put into words how far we've come," Ethan said, looking at her with admiration. "The bond we've forged is stronger than I ever dreamed possible." Lyra smiled, leaning against him. "Together, we can accomplish anything. This is just the beginning, Ethan." He wrapped his arms around her, pulling her closer as they watched the festivities unfold. "I promise to stay by your side, no matter what challenges arise." In the warmth of his embrace, Lyra felt the steady heartbeat of their united strength, an unwavering commitment that would carry them forward, navigating whatever storms lay ahead. As laughter echoed behind them, they stood together beneath the stars, two luminous souls intertwined, ready to face each dawn with courage. In the heart of their unlikely alliance flickered a bright flame of hope, testament to the power of love that had transcended worlds. A future stretched out before them, filled with endless possibilities, a harmonious existence built through understanding, a promise they would safeguard with every fiber of their beings. They had turned the page on an era of conflict, and as they stepped forward, hand in hand, they were emboldened by the love that had united them. Together, they would illuminate the darkness